Where did you buy your last book?
You would be a bit of an anomaly if you purchased it from an independent bookseller,
But you probably bought it from a big box bookstore or a website.
because when people go into independent bookstores and see the price for a book, they often use their phones to find better prices online. It's easier that way.
There could be several reasons for this: money, time, selection, or convenience of purchase.
But haven't independent bookstores always existed?
Well, in 1982, there were more than 4,000 independent bookstores in the US, but more than 1,000 bookstores closed between 2000 and 2007, and today that number continues to drop.
And we already know why. Brand name booksellers offer lower prices and a larger selection.
Right. Back in the mid-1990s, the Barnes & Noble chain had started out as customer-friendly.
But it's changed its business model. Instead of doing author readings and community events, they've moved to a more corporate and school sales focus.
This new business model ushered in the killing off of independent bookstores.
I think we need a second opinion.
Alright, so how are independent bookstores competing with big name bookstores right now?
Well, we usually compete by, being very involved with the community and also doing a lot of author events, so bringing people in. You find a lot of the chain stores, especially in a smaller town like Vero Beach, don't bring in many authors, and that's one reason why we're very recognized in the community. And we also have a lot of readers in town, so we've been here a long time. We're very well established, and we're just very outgoing outside of our store into the community.
So how many events do you usually hold here per year?
Per year, there's probably around 40 plus. It depends. In season, there's sometimes we can have an event every single day of the week, and then when we're in the summer, when we're in our slower time, it backs off quite a bit.
Oh, okay.
But for example, we had a small event this morning, and then we have an event tomorrow, the next day, and the next day.
Cool. Yeah.
So this week's kind of busy, and but I'd say at least 40 plus events a year.
So that's quite a bit,
Yeah.
to be honest. I have a big question for you. Do you think independent bookstores will always last, and why?
I think they will. I mean, it's a good question, and no one really knows. I mean, I wouldn't have guessed that Borders would go out of business either.
Yeah, that was like a real shock, I think. Just
and in a way, it was good for us, because a lot of people, I think that customers or the community always wants us to be here. The question is, will enough of them support us so that we always stay here? And if we did go away, I think that a lot of people would be kind of crushed, and that's so sad, and maybe even guilty a little bit for not. But I mean, ultimately, I think when things it's pretty well known that a lot of small independent stores have gone out of business, and also Borders has gone out of business, and I think that's been a bit of a wake-up call for a lot of folks that want to always have a bookstore in their town, especially an independent store. So I think kind of based on that, and based on the ebooks has proven to not completely destroy us or all brick and mortars, I'm confident that we'll be sticking around. So ask me again in 10 years.
So what's the verdict?
Well, it's no secret Amazon has the majority of the book market with 22.6%.
And Barnes & Noble has 17.3%.
So where does that leave the small book businesses with the measly 6%?
For as long as customers seek out a personal book buying experience, independent bookstores will stay open.
There will always be those who prefer local businesses to chains and discount prices for the personal touch that comes with different relationships.
Independent bookstore prices may be above average, but only because they cannot afford to give as many discounts as brand name stores, unless they would like to end up like Borders in 2011.
Can independent bookstores ever regain momentum?
Who's to say? When ebooks became popular, everyone began reciting the eulogies of independent bookstores, but they're not extinct yet.
Who knows what technology will come about in 10 years? What we do know is that nothing beats the feeling of holding a book in your hand and knowing that you've bought something that came from a place you know and trust.